So at SPA Research, we currently have a presentation training, and my trainer told me you should start a presentation either with a question, with a story, or with facts. So since this is a conference, I'll start with some facts on cybersecurity. So if you read those, you often hear that insiders are the biggest threat, or that many people give up their password for a bar of chocolate. There's one study that is actually quite often cited that states this, or that systems that are used by many people, even though they might have security problems, those problems are usually fixed quickly, or that good way of detecting malware on Android is by simply looking at dynamic code loading, because malware loads dynamic code and goodware doesn't. So if you look at all those facts, do you see anything that they have in common? Well, if you closely look at those facts, is that most of those facts are actually wrong, or have been true in the past but are no longer true. So insiders, for instance, being the biggest threat, if you look at data disclosures and latest, actually one-year-old surveys of Europol, you see that this is no longer true. So there are many of those facts aren't actually facts. My favorite one is the bar of chocolate study, which is just complete nonsense in terms of the study, because they asked people for their password and said, if you give me your password, I'll give you a bar of chocolate. And they never verified whether those passwords are actually correct. So it's obviously, I love chocolate, I'll give you 10 passwords if I get 10 bars of chocolate. So what we need is better empirical research in information security. And when we do empirical research in information security, or now as the modern term is cybersecurity, or there's been this transition to cybersecurity that encompasses more, people are heavily involved in this area, and then this comes down to research ethics. So which studies can you do? Is it ethical to trick people? There's been a long tradition in psychology in doing those studies. In computer science, this is relatively new, and many of the studies the great papers that you've seen 5 years ago are maybe not possible any longer today, because also the notion of what is ethical or not has developed over the past years. So to improve the situation with the wrong, or probably wrong, or at least inaccurate facts,